River crossings are fun. Sometimes it's unnecessary, but it's fun. So let's be realistic. What can go wrong? There's lots that can go wrong. If you get stuck in the water for a long period of time, you can get water into your electrics and your car won't start and you're going to have problems. Also, if you've been driving for a long time, the diffs and the gearbox and the transfer case get hot, and as soon as you're in cold water, they create a vacuum and water will get sucked in. Now it all depends on where your breather pipes are, because that will also obviously make a difference. So if you're just driving through a river in and out, generally not a problem. The next thing is, if you're stuck for a long time, you can get water into your car or your vehicle. So while you're driving through the water, water generally is not going to come in. But if you're in for any extended period of time, water will definitely get in. And then you've got the mission of anything that's on the floor gets wet. You've got to take your mats out. It's a whole massive job. So just be careful. If you don't know the river and you don't know how deep it is, walk it. Always walk the river. When you're in the river, make sure that there's no big rocks that you're going to hit the diff on and you're going to end up getting stuck. It's happened to me and it happens. Also, when you're walking the river, have a look at the bottom. Feel it with your feet. Is it soft? Is it hard? Are there stones? Is it mud? What is it? So you know if you've got a good chance of getting stuck or not. When you're in the river, have a look how deep it is. If it's sort of beyond your thigh up to your waist, you got to make the decision. Have a look at your owner's manual, and in the owner's manual it will tell you what the recommended maximum wading depth is. By fitting a snorkel and breathers on your diffs and transfer case, you can always extend that, but is it necessary to cross that river? The other thing is, what about parasites? If you are in Africa or South America, you can find things in the water like bilharzia. There could be crocodiles. There can be all sorts of reasons not to walk the river. So what do you do then? Take a long stick and sort of probe the river, or sit on the bull bar and move in slowly, feeling as you go, and then make the decision. Also, if there are locals, you can ask the locals how deep the river is. We've done that in Botswana, where there are crocodiles, and you just ask the locals and they say no, you can drive through on a bicycle, then you know it's fine. Have a look at the speed of the water. If you've got a deep water crossing and you have to do it, the amount of body work that's in the river will create a resistance and the water can push you downstream. That all might be fine and well, but is there an exit point downstream? So you look across and it's easy, and you look 50 meters downstream and you can't get out. So determine if there's another exit point and how safe it is. 2 weeks ago we were crossing a river and we were sitting on the bank and a vehicle came from the other side and he started to float and he drifted, managed to get out, but the water was very deep. Is it necessary? If you have to do a very deep crossing, attach a recovery strap. So if you're the first vehicle, attach it behind so somebody can get you out. If you're not the first vehicle, attach it front or back. But it's easier than trying to work underwater and connect it to the recovery point. If you're going to be doing deep water crossings, 2 essentials. Make sure your windows are open and take off your seatbelt. If you get stuck in the river, the force of the water against the doors can create a situation where you cannot open the doors. If the water is deep, there's a good chance that the electrics will not allow you to open the windows and you will die. So always open the windows and take your seatbelt off. If something goes wrong, you can get out. It's really essential. So what do you do if it's a very long water crossing and the water is relatively deep? A normal crossing, you're in and out and it's a number of seconds and it's all sorted. My longest water crossing has probably been 400 meters. The one in the photograph was probably 200 meters and it was 30-40 centimeters deep. If it's deeper than that and the crossing's long, you tend to get water into the engine bay. So the cooling fan will throw the water around, and if you haven't got a vehicle that's 100% waterproof, you're going to get water inside and on the electrics, and if you've got an old vehicle on the distributor, and you're going to have issues. So what do? You get a tarpaulin, You don't need a tarpaulin, it can be a rain jacket, it can be a bit of plastic, anything, and you put it across your grill. So if you've got a top, it's easy with bungee cords, but it creates a break and it'll stop water entering the engine bay. Obviously, if you're stuck in the river, water will get in anyway from the underneath, but just as you're driving through, it's going to create a wave in the front. The water will not enter into the engine compartment or engine bay, and you'll get out fine. Just remember on the other side to take the top off, because otherwise you're going to have an issue with the radiator not getting enough airflow. If you're not sure if you're going to get stuck and the riverbed is sandy or muddy, engage your rear diff lock if you have one. Might not be necessary, but no problem, and engage it and just disengage it on the other side. And at least then you've got a little bit extra security that you will get out. A lot of videos show huge splashes as people drive into the river. It's really not necessary. And if anything, you're going to get water into the engine and electrics. So just use a moderate speed and engage your diff lock and drive through. You really don't need to splash like that. Although it might be fun and gives nice photo opportunities, it can result in electrical problems. Also, if you're on a long trip, 10, 14 days and far away from anything, you don't really want to start a trip like that. Also, when you're doing river crossings, let each vehicle finish the crossing before you join. The next thing is there's 5 vehicles behind one another in the river. The front vehicle gets stuck and then you've got issues. So let each vehicle finish. When they're out on the other side, the next vehicle goes. You're not going to be left behind, and it just makes sense. The same actually applies to any obstacle. Let each vehicle finish, because if they've got to reverse out, you're going to be in the way. If you misjudge the river and you end up in really deep water, I did that 2 weeks ago and I had water halfway up my windscreen. The best thing is to stop as soon as you get onto the other side, turn your engine off, have a look at the airbox and make sure that no water has been sucked in. If it has, that's a different video, but yeah, just stop and check it immediately and dry anything before you continue on your journey. After a long trip and when you get home, and if you know what you're doing, check the oil in your diffs, the transfer case, generally not the gearbox but the other two, well the three, because the front diff, back diff and the transfer case. Check the oil. If the oil is milky, you've generally got water into the oil and it needs to be changed. If you don't know what to do, rather go to a mechanic and get them to change the oil for you. If you don't change the oil, it's not going to have the same lubrication and you're going to have issues. If you're in a country where you've got lots of water crossings, I would really suggest getting a snorkel fitted. I got one fitted 2 weeks ago after the water up my windscreen. And also get the breathers on your diffs and transfer case extended. You can get kits or your 4x4 shop can do it. And extend the breathers that they are much higher, just under the bonnet. That'll give you confidence that you can drive in much deeper water if you have to, and you're not going to suck in water. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. We have awesome fun making these videos. And a special thank you to Mark, who always is willing to go with and drive his backup vehicle or drive in front or whatever we do, but we have a lot of fun. And it's great having someone that's always keen. Anyhow, please like and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for watching.